Greetings. I am so excited to have you here today for our Asentiv Insight. And I'm joined today by Melinda Lugo. Welcome, Melinda.
Thank you very much.
So who are you? Where are you? What do you do?
So I am Melinda Lugo. I'm coming to you from the Tampa Bay area in Florida. I am one of the co-founders and owners of Brandon Pain Treatment Center. And what I do is I help my clients reclaim their health, maximize their health through the use of manual massage therapy.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean?
So I'll give you an example. What happens in my office? Typically, when I meet a client for the first time, they've been dealing with a specific pain issue, usually for a significant amount of time. They are somebody that prioritizes their health. They might be looking for more natural or alternative means to take care of themselves. So they tend to shy away from things like medication to relieve pain. They're trying to avoid surgery, and they're really trying to maintain the integrity of their body so that they can live a long, healthy life, achieving all the goals that they want.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about your practice. When did you start it? Who all is part of the team?
Okay, so our practice began in 2015, and at that time we had one therapist. That therapist was my husband and business partner. He was the lone wolf, and then we became the mom and pop shop. And so it was just he and I for a couple of years. And we ultimately decided that we really wanted to extend our reach. And when you work one-on-one with people, I can really only impact one person at a time with these two hands. And so we thought about it long and hard and decided that in order for us to really promote change and how people approach their health, we needed more people. And so fast forward to today, we now have a team of, it's actually going on 10 people here in our practice.
You just added like 2 this past month, right?
We did. We just added 2 more. We've added a few admin staff to help us out. And we have, several therapists that have already been here. We've also in the past year launched a second location. So we are now in Brandon, which is where our flagship office is, if you want to call it that. And we've extended a little further north in the Tampa Bay area to Wesley Chapel. Which I know is close to you.
Adore, because it used to take me 40 minutes to drive to Brandon to see you. Now it takes me 12. So I do appreciate it. So let me ask you a question. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face since you started your practice?
Well, I think I faced a lot of the challenges that most small business owners face. First one being, I grew up in a very DIY type of environment. So obstacle or challenge number 1 was recognizing when I needed help. Because we can't do everything well 100% of the time. And so it was really coming to the realization and say, it's time for us to let other people in, not just other therapists treating, but other business professionals to kind of help us with the back office functions so that we could just run more efficiently. The more recent challenges in the last few years is identifying those times in our business when it's time to grow. How soon do we add other clinicians? How soon do we make the decision to open another location? Those are, kind of the bigger questions with certainly more uncertainty, because you want to make sure that you're making the right call at the right time. And for a business owner, you've got to be willing to take the risk, but it's a calculated one.
So what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs facing that similar challenge, whether it's the DIY, I'm doing it all myself, or when do I take that next big step?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the first things I would say is actually a piece of advice I got from you. And that was to sit and draw out an organizational chart of your business and, all those different functions, and figure out who goes where in that organizational chart. When you do that and you start to see your name pop up in all these different areas, it's time to say, I've got to call in for some reinforcements. I think that's a great first step, because you sometimes, when you're in the trenches, if you will, it's hard to really see that. So you've got to take a step back and go, okay, where do I fit in this organizational structure? I'm building my dream business. Where do I see myself fitting into that dream business? And then you can start to make decisions accordingly.
That's excellent advice.
Good job, Tiffanie.
How many of the org chart do you know? And I'm just putting you on the spot here. How many you were in and how many you are in now, and how long it took you to make that change?
So there are still some things that I do, but I am no longer the executive vice president of laundry. So that was great. You know, as a starting therapist, you know, we did what we had to do. Budget constraints were what they were. And so I was bringing home laundry every day and then taking that back to the office. And we started to realize, okay, that's not the best use of our time. We started to outsource things like some of our accounting and payroll functions. Again, not my field of expertise. I could do it. I'm not great at it. And so it's going to take me longer. So things like that. In the past year, we've also started to outsource more of our marketing functions. Again, not my area. I like to think I'm a really good therapist, but I'm not necessarily an expert at marketing. So it was great to go, you know what, I'm going to trust the experts and let them do it.
I think that's some really great advice for entrepreneurs. We usually get into our own business because we have a love or a passion for whatever it happens to be. But all the rest of the stuff, yeah, they didn't teach us that.
No. So I guess the moral, you know, the PS or the end of it all is I occupy fewer and fewer spaces on that org chart. So
excellent.
I think that's how it should be.
Love it. Now, so we've talked about kind of where you've been. What is your vision? What do you have planned for the next 5 years? Ooh. Assuming you're getting way more, assuming you're going to have less names of yours in the org chart, or at least they're moving up to the top.
Right. So in the next few years, we have already had discussions about where our next location will be. So we're in the early planning stages of that. When I think about our business in the next 5 years, if I were dreaming big, I would say 2 to 3 more locations with therapists, maybe even across state lines. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. There are 49 other states. So those are kind of the things that we are thinking of. We also, as kind of leaders in the business, want to go out and be teachers, teacher advocates for people who are looking for alternative ways to help themselves feel better and don't necessarily know that these tools are out there. So I kind of see myself as a bit of an ambassador for what we do.
Yeah, because what you do is not your typical massage. I think sometimes people think massage and it's like, yes, let me kind of slightly run my hands on your back. And that is not what it is. However, you feel better in the long run.
Right. I would agree. We certainly, we live more in the clinical space as opposed to the relaxation space. And, you know, for a large segment of the population, they don't necessarily know what that looks like.
I certainly never thought about massage to help with my migraines, other than like in the migraine, you know, you feel better, but in long term, keeping better. And so there's amazing things that y'all do. Now, in this vision, 2 to 3 more locations, expanding states, what might stop you from getting there? Any obstacles that you've already identified that you know may come up?
Aside from the fact that I'll be older, that I'll be older by then. For one thing, I need the resources behind me. So that in part means personnel, because it can't be everywhere all at once. Again, that means having the right people in place to help us with those functions that don't necessarily involve the treatment room directly. And, you know, sometimes it's this is a big chance I'm taking. Am I ready to take the leap? So that's, you know, I never thought I would hear myself say, hey, I'm thinking about all these other locations. But that conversation happened and here we are.
Love it. Love it. Now at Asentiv, we occasionally mention our vision, our goal, our mission for the people that we work with is to have the amazing business and spectacular life. What does amazing business and spectacular life mean to you?
Freedom. That's what that means to me. Both freedom to pursue the things I want to professionally, but also the freedom to have the flexibility in my schedule to do the things that give me a sense of purpose outside of my career, right? The things that kind of nourish you in another way.
So, and what do you like to do outside of the career? What are some of those fun things that you like to do in your freedom?
So one of the things, and I know Tiffanie, you've been following me do this for a while now, is, I mean, I'm big into cooking. And one of my big projects every year is a gingerbread house. So, the gingerbread house saga continues. I really want to travel. Again, food is a big thing, but I want to explore other cultures through their cuisine and history. I want to be able to take my kids to have those kinds of adventures. Those are things I couldn't do when I was younger, and I'd love to be able to have them have those kinds of opportunities.
Love it, love it. And you got two amazing kids plus your husband, so really good travel companions there.
The best.
So I mentioned a little bit earlier that you're different than other massage therapists that are more focused on relaxation. How do you feel you really set yourself apart as a therapist? If I was to say, how are you different than your competition? What might that look like?
So I've
been on your table, so I get it, but not everybody watching has had the pleasure. And y'all, people travel from other states to see Melinda, so it's not
sometimes they do. It's interesting because people say, how do you compare to other massage therapists? How do you compare to other people in the healthcare space? And when I think about it, I take myself back to being on the patient side of things. I have a history of knee issues, and I've had that experience where I'm brought into the doctor's office. I'm kind of shuffled in and out very quickly. Physicians were great. They did great work with me, but I didn't always feel like my needs were addressed. My concerns were necessarily answered. And that didn't feel great. I didn't have any sense of agency, any feeling of empowerment. And I think what makes this different is when I'm with my client, with my patient, I'm with you for an hour. For an hour of your time, you have my undevoted attention. 100% of my time and effort is into understanding your unique story, understanding your symptoms, but also getting a clear sense of what are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve? To your point, what is your vision for what your life is like when you step outside of my door? And so that opens up for a fantastic conversation with my patient because their goals might be different from mine. But we have the time together for us to figure those things out and figure out where we align so that we can make a plan together. And I think that is something that does make me unique from others in that healthcare space.
And I know you've got so many success stories of how you've helped clients. And do you think those success stories and how you've helped clients has any impact on referrals that you generate for your business? And what are your thoughts on referrals?
So an overwhelming majority of my business is referral based. I try to educate, we all on our team try to educate our patients. We try to let them know, hey, we are different, we are unique, and perhaps there's somebody in your world that needs our help. And so, those success stories beget other success stories because people are excited and they want to share. It's like they're in on a secret, and that secret is that you don't necessarily have to suffer in pain. And so they share. They're our best cheerleaders. Referral based, again, referrals are the cornerstone of my business. And so I will forever sing the praises of referral marketing.
We met in a referral organization, your client in a referral world. So
right.
Love it. Love it. Last question I have to ask you today is just, do you have any news, anything exciting coming up that you would love to share with our viewing audience?
Well, aside from the fact that this new clinic is launching or has launched, we are, because we've expanded, Brandon Pain Treatment Center can't necessarily follow us because I'm no longer just in Brandon. So we are rebranding so that every one of our locations is going to go by the same name. So that's going to help us build a lot of brand recognition. So that's what's new and exciting. Our clinics will be, from this point forward, be known as the Overton Clinic. And so we've got Brandon, we've got Wesley Chapel, and coming soon to another location. To be determined.
Love it. Super excited. I want to say thank you so very much. If people are wanting to come and try you out, if you want Melinda, put her hands on you. It's my favorite part of every month. Well, maybe not my favorite, but it's definitely at the top. How can they find you?
Well, they can find us by visiting our website, which is brandonptc.com. So Brandon, P as in Paul, T like Tom, C like Charlie. They can find us on our website. They can always call us. Our number here is 813-820-3030.
Thank you so very much, Melinda, for your time. Thank you so much for those of you watching today. It has been a pleasure as we're working towards that amazing business and spectacular life. Happy networking, y'all.